let's give a few more minutes for Mr. Parit to join.
Okay. No problem.
For IT team from PTTA, maybe okay, Mr. Parit is already here. I thought we're gonna rerun some of the videos that we showed earlier. Okay, since Mr. Parit just joined, welcome, Mr. Parit. We will start right on time at 2:30 p.m.
Nazar, can I try one video clip in the presentation? See whether you can hear it or not.
Okay. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Where is sharing? How do I share? Share screen. Okay.
You can share screen. Then you choose the file.
Okay. You can see the file? You can see?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Let me go to the video clip here. I'm supposed to wait. Can you hear? Nazar, can you hear or not?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah, it's still like downloading.
Oh, downloading.
Or maybe you put it at yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Play. We can see the slide, but no audio.
No audio, huh?
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing. So how do is there any setup that I need to adjust? No, speaker, no. Where is the record?
The technical support, can you advise
Speaker,
what is the issue?
Test speaker and microphone. Switch to phone audio, the computer.
Okay.
You cannot hear my speaker. I mean the
player. Yeah.
Let me share again. Cannot remote control mute speaker, remote control mode. Okay. And if we cannot hear that clip, then I skip that video clip.
Yeah, you can show the video and you just run through with us. You briefly explain the photos.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start. We will let our moderator, Mr. Rizaldi, to proceed with the opening. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nazar, for welcoming me as a moderator for today's talk. Well, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. Okay, for information, this program is jointly organized by Fakulti Pengurusan Teknologi dan Perniagaan, Pusat Kemajuan Kerjaya dan Alumni, Perpustakaan Tunku Tun Aminah, Fakulti Kejuruteraan Elektrik dan Elektronik. Welcome to all audiences to program Ceramah Kerjaya Bersama Intel. And our amazing panelist for today, the Honorable Mr. Muhammad Farid bin Sulaiman, Engineering Director of Strategic Program Malaysia Design Center Intel. My name is Rizaldi Mukmin, MBA UTHM student from batch 11, and I'll be the moderator for today's talk. On behalf of the organizing committee, I'd like to thank everybody for your time, interest, and participation in this webinar. And we appreciate you for taking time off your busy schedule to join us today. Throughout this program, please feel free to utilize the chat section if you have any inquiries or questions to ask the speaker, or you may send a question to me privately. I will ensure the questions be addressed during the Q&A session later on. But before we going to the main agenda, we would like to invite Dr. Nazar to deliver his welcoming speech and giving the introduction to our speaker today. Please welcome Dr. Nazar.
Thank you, Mr. Rizaldi. I'm not doctor yet. I'm Mr. Nazar, fellow industry from Fakulti Pengurusan Teknologi and Perniagaan. So it will take long hours to really describe Mr. Farid's experience, because he has worked in Intel for only 35 years. If I'm not mistaken, he joined in the 1980s. Okay, so Mr. Farid is the testimony of a very loyal employee, because he worked in the same company for more than 35 years. So we are very grateful and appreciate Mr. Farid, one of the pioneer in the semiconductor industry in Penang. So I'm sure all of us, especially students, will get a lot of benefit from his sharing his insight and share with us the latest trend in the semiconductor industry and also the international business, right? So without further ado, so I will let Mr. Farid to share with us some critical and important insights in terms of employability. What is the current trend in recruitment process in Malaysia, and also since we know that there is a lot of news, Intel is expanding their business in Malaysia. They going to hire 4,000 new employees to support their expansion. So hopefully one day you guys, UTHM student, will be able to attend the interview and be part of the Intel Malaysia employees. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Farid. Again, please go ahead, Mr. Farid.
Okay. You can see my page, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can enlarge it a bit.
Yeah. Let me. Okay. You can see the full page, right? And you can hear me clearly, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, very good afternoon to everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I will be giving two parts of the presentation. The first part is on the Intel overview, And then I will stop, and then if anybody want to ask any question, we can talk about in the overview. And then I will go to the second session where we'll talk about more on the hiring employees in this current scenario, right? In what is the industry look for, not just the academic talent, but also on the different behavior, attitude, and all that stuff. So that make the full complete knowledge, hopefully that it will help you to become more employable and get a good position in the industry or whatever job that you try to apply. Okay, all right. Okay, basically this is what Intel vision, right? Intel vision to relate to world-changing technology, right? So we are creating a world-changing technology from silicon sent to computer to clouds to AI, artificial intelligence, where we want to improve every life of person in the planet, whoever touched the technology, right? So that is basically our vision: create world-changing technology that improve the life of every person on the planet. So that's our very audacious vision, and I don't think that everybody in the planet is yet connected to the technology in the internet. Okay. Okay. So there are three what we call platform that we are working on as a company, right? We our Intel products not only come with a silicon itself, but it has come with the software that make the silicon works and perform to what we expect it to perform. And then it is the silicon itself plus the platform, the hardware, the motherboard, the system, the whole architecture that come and work together with the silicon to make wonders in the technology, right? And also it come with our own packaging technology, our own process or assembly and test, our fab process technology that really, at the edge, top notch of the silicon semiconductor process and technology. So that is where we are heading, and that is where we are leading the community of the silicon globally towards the high-end and large scale of manufacturing. Okay, and you look recently, there is a lot of what we call geopolitics happening between the West and the East, between US, Europe, China, and the recent one is the invasion or the war between Russia and Ukraine. So that is all involve technology, it involves supply and change. Because of that, there are effort want to dismantle, the Chinese from the manufacturing technology and so on. So all these evolve around the technology and who is want to control the technology, right? So it did give implication to us in terms of manufacturing, in terms of building new capability, so there's trend that a lot of these companies from the US and Europe is moving out of China, right? It is coming soon, and you will see slowly the next 2-3 years, a lot more companies will dismantling their supply chain from China and do not want to be kind of, really depend on China in terms of supplying all these products at the silicon and parts, right? Okay. Okay. So there are 4 pillars that why the world is becoming more digital. First one, look at the compute capability. Today, a single chip can not only do a simple AND OR gates. Now they can do a lot of high-end computings. They can do a lot of graphics. They can do super computing. They can even do a very fast AI manipulation algorithm. So a single CPU can do a lot more today and in a very small size of silicon compared to previously in the past. Let's say 10 years ago, you need to have a lot of a CPU to come up with one single step. But today, one single CPU can do a billion processing in a second, right? So that's why the compute capability today is so huge that even your handphone can do a lot of computation compared to a supercomputer 10 years ago. Okay, right? So the next one is connectivity. So you look at the broadband availability, and not only at the middle of the what I call center of the urban town area, but it's spread out to the rural areas, such that mostly everybody who can afford can access to the broadband, right? We talk about 3G, then 4G. Now we are introducing 5G, and they are now working on 6G. So all this connectivity will be introduced, and they have different advantage and advance in connecting the device to the internet, and make sure that all this can be, the data from the device can be transferred to the internet and to the where it should be what I call stored, can be compute and come up with the actionable item out of it, right? So the next one is the cloud edge infrastructure. Last time, the storage capability on the devices is very small. Your laptop can only have what, 50 gigs, and now it go up to 125, and now even the simple laptop have 250 gigs. Even your smartphone, right? It has higher and higher storage capability. Last time you after 1 year of storage, all the WhatsApp message, your phone will be very slow and have to be what I call this put up backup energy to store all this storing, right? And the clouds, right? So there's a lot of companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google's. They are creating a lot of what I call a cloud storage capability, where you can also use these services to store a lot of your data with a very small fraction of cost, right? So the cloud infrastructure is getting better. All the data can be processed right at a device and then transmit to the cloud in a very secure and reliable way. That you talk about security, we talk about the speed, right? We talk about how many data can be transferred at the same time, right? So these all the cloud capability that has been developed and support the digitization of the data in this world, right? Okay, the last portion is talk about artificial intelligence. So this is the one that are becoming stronger and stronger. So all this data that has been accumulated has been captured through the device and stored in the clouds. Now they are being harnessed. They are being what I call mined by the algorithm that developed by our AI engineers, where they will find certain pattern, and from that pattern algorithm, they will come up with actionable item, whether, they recognize, hey, this is the harvest season, right? Or this is a dry season for the agriculture. And the signal will come back saying, okay, start pumping water, or start pumping the urea, or, or start, harvesting the agriculture. So all this signal is coming out from the data that have been analyzed by the artificial intelligence programs, right? So these 4 areas are very key that help the world to become more digitalized and become more efficient, become more cost conscious society, right? And hopefully, if we do the right thing, it will help, move the people to the next level of efficiency in this world, right? Okay. So, any questions so far? Any question? No question. Then I was go ahead, huh? Okay. Now, in order to support some of these pillars, right, these 4 pillars, we have our own strategy. We are delivering product leadership, right? We lead and demonstrate compete strategy with Intel x86 and XPU. X86, you know, from 586, 686, i5, and then i3, i7, i9, right? And then we come up with the what we call GPU. Now we have our own graphics processor units that will help us to be able to display graphic in more accurate, sharp strategy, and there's no graphic issue, whatever it is, right? So it also, if you talk about Bitcoin mining, so this graphic processor really help in mining some of this what we call Bitcoin, for example, right? So we have what we call whole range of product from the low-end Atom SoC all the way to a graphic and server and so on, right? Okay, and then we have open platform. We deliver open and secure software that help to drive the industry how to use the product in a better and what I call better and optimized way, so that they can what I call this utilize the capability in the most efficient way and save a lot of costs and money, right? Okay, the third one, we also have our strategy in supporting manufacturing. So we have our own factory. We have our own fabrication for the die, for the wafer, right? And then we have our own assembly and test. And then we have our own what we call now we call IDM 2.0, where we are opening up our manufacturing to support other companies that will not have their own fab and assembly and test, right? So instead of just producing our product, we make our technology in terms of manufacturing open to the rest of other semiconductor players in the industry. So that will help the company to grow further and also help to what I call grow the scale of the manufacturing of the high-end into a larger, bigger scale, right? So these are 3 of our strategies to support that 4 pillars, and hopefully we can go digitalization much faster down the road. Okay, all right. Okay. In order for us to what we call sustain the technology, right, or to provide our strategy down the road, we must have some strategy to sustain our capability, our ecosystem, our relationship with the community, for example, right? So we call this RISE, R-I-S-E, which is responsible, inclusive, sustainable, and enabling, right? So these are very key for us to ensure that we can sustain the organization and move forward down the road. So R stands for responsibility, revolutionize how technology will improve health and safety. So we do care, whether our technology will support improving the health and safety of the people. All right. And we talk about inclusive, make our technology fully inclusive, expand digital readiness, right? When we say fully inclusive, right, it is support every what I call range of the community, right? Because our product sell worldwide. We don't say that, hey, our product only suitable for the Western community, or we only sell on the what I call this China's. How do we support our product in the China community, for example, right? So our product is must be a very inclusive product that will cover all community, because it also support. It also exists in the different community. For example, later we show that we have factory in US, we have factory in Europe, we have factory in China, we have factory in Malaysia, in India, what else? In Europe, for example, right? So all this, it means that our workforce itself is not coming from a single demographic population. It's coming from a different ethnic, different geo, different language, different culture, right? So inclusivity is very important for us to ensure that we can sustain our growth down the road, right? Sustainability, achieve carbon neutral computing to address climate change. So this climate change is becoming more what I call focus the last 5 years, right? And it become more and more focused down the road. People talk about less carbon usage in generating the energy. You know, instead of using oil, they are talking about green energy from solar or from wind, etc., right? Or recyclable energy, right? So this is one of the key important area that Intel also is pursuing. As much as possible, we want to try to tackle like certain percentage of our energy usage is based on renewable energy. So we are going after that. The last one is talk about enabling, accelerate the ways accelerate the ways we enable progress through our technology and the expertise and passion of our employees, right? So we want the people to grow when the company grow, right? So we talk about, you know, enrich the academic background of the employee, right? Or we want to let the employee work in the area they like the most, and they work the area that they can participate, not only to grow the company, but also, let's say, to grow the community around it. We provide volunteers hours, for example, right? That where the employee happily can participate in the community program, right? There's a lot of these activities happening, right? So by enabling such program, you will help not only the company but the employee to be happy with what they are doing, and also helping the community around the organization. Okay, all right. Okay, this one is a map to show where Intel are today, right? So first one is we are in the US. We have quite a number of sites in the US. We are in Oregon. We have our Intel worldwide headquarters is in Santa Clara, California, right? We have a factory in Arizona. We have a plant in New Mexico, and we did last time close the assembly and test in Costa Rica, but the last 5 years we start opening back in Costa Rica because it is becoming key to ensure that we can support the American Latin market. So we reopened back Costa Rica for assembly and test, right? And then we have a factory in Ireland. We have fab and some design center in Ireland. We have in Israel. We have in Malaysia. We have 2 sites. We have Penang and Kulim. And you hear recently, Intel announced that we are investing a new plant in Penang and Kulim, about 7 billion US in the next 2-3 years, right? So there's a lot of activity construction going up in Penang plant right now, right? We have a factory in Chengdu, Vietnam. And the last one is Dalian. Dalian is the memory factory in the process of what we call divest to Hynix. So Hynix is buying up Dalian factory because we are divesting our memory product actually, right? Okay, so this is, and so if you know that Intel is a very diverse company that covering from US all the way to the East, so it can show that the people who work in Intel itself, you can face a lot of different culture, different ethnic, different language, different style, and in terms of communication, behavior, all that stuff. So diversity is very important in Intel. We are cautious to respect diversity. We want to ensure that inclusion activities going on all the world in our operation and in the office, right? Okay. Okay, so this is Intel Malaysia. Actually, the video clip is talk about how Intel was being built up in 1975, and then all the way up to now, where we start our assembly and test in 1975, and then in 1991 or 92, we start design center, embedded design center in Malaysia. The first one, very small group of people in the design embedded devices. And then after that, we start growing. We include start designing SoC, Atom SoC design. And then we include bigger derivative devices. And then we come in with wireless. We come in with the board design, and then Internet of Things software group come in, and then we buy Altera, where we bring in FPGA design team in Penang. I think that is in 2000 plus 2014, if not mistaken, right? And then we bring in what you call more stuff recently. And the last one is the flip chip capability that we're going to bring in when the new plant in Penang ready by next year. Okay. Okay. We have about more than 13,000 employee total, Penang plus Kulim. More than 10,000 is exam people, and about 8,000 is engineers, right? We have, actually we have 8,000 engineers hired in both Penang and Kulim. So there's a lot of engineers. And down the road, when the two plant is ready in Penang and Kulim, we will hire additional, around 3,000 to 4,000 more people and operators and engineers. We talk about, on top of that, we have about 13,000 contract workers supporting both sides of the 13,000, right? So if you have 10,000 plus 13,000, that is easily about 23,000 workers that be employed in both Penang and Kulim. There's a lot of numbers there. Okay. All right, go to the next one. So Intel Malaysia in general, we have four pillars. We are doing manufacturing and advanced packaging, right? Manufacturing and advanced packaging means that we have a factory that are doing assembly, and also we're doing testing, right? After that, it will ship, right, as a chips, right? And then we have a second one, what we call design and development. So D&D is very key to ensure that we can move up to the next level of the change, right? In the high-end activities where you can have a higher salary for the engineers, for example. So because all these design and development need very high-skilled workers, right? So they are being paid much higher compared to other form of activities in the factory, right? So design and development, we have from design in terms of silicon. We have also designers in the form of software designers, board designers. We have what we call this manufacturing equipment, manufacturing designers also, right? They call it assembly test TD development team, right? Okay, so quite a number of people in this area is very key to ensure that Malaysia as a country can become what we call design development area, right? The third one is sales marketing. Okay, we have a sales and marketing group in Kuala Lumpur. about 70 people, right? They are supporting the Asia Pacific region, covering Malaysia, the ASEAN country, covering Japan, Taiwan. I think China has their own sales and marketing term, right? And then we cover India, we cover this part of Middle East and so on, right? So this group of sales and marketing, generate about 1.5 billion US dollar revenue a year for just this small group of 70 employees in KL, right? And then we have what we call global shared services. So global shared services is a group of people that, for example, HR, finance, planners, what we call site services, right? So all these people are not only support Intel Malaysia as a whole, but they are also covering the other geos. For example, our finance, right? They're not just covering Malaysia, but they're also covering Europe and Asia Pacific. It means that all the salary of the workers in Europe or in China is controlled by the finance in Malaysia, for example, right? And there are some group, for example, procurement, right? Or there are some group, what I call HR. I think the Asia Pacific HR, ATM HR is centered in Malaysia, right? So this guy not only cover Malaysia, but they cover HR organization in China, in Vietnam, in Malaysia, and in India, for example, right? So our global shared services is not just for Malaysia, it covered the geography more than Malaysia, all right? So that is what we call a global service is coming, right? Okay, so these are 4 areas of type of works that are available in Malaysia that, any of you from business school, from the engineering school can, see if there's opportunity for you to join us down the road, okay? Okay, so this is a new project. We call it Falcon, right? So Falcon, this building here is in Kulim. We call it KM8, right? So we're going to invest about more than 1 billion to repurpose this facility. Actually, this facility is, we bought it from Panasonic just late last year, right? Panasonic actually used this to produce the solar panel, but they closed the factory, I think it's early last year due to a business reason. So we look this as opportunity to, so we buy the whole factory and the land back there for future growth, right? So it's about 400 square feet clean room and repurposed to meet the Intel product, and it will be ready in production by first half of 23, right? So it create about more than 25K jobs, and this is going to be fully occupied. So this is an opportunity for you guys, if you're really interested to work in Kulim, yeah, first after 23, right? Okay. Then we have another new plant in Penang. So this is the area that we have flattened out, and we are in the process of building new building. What we call is high-end fab chip, multi-chip factory, right? This site will include what 790K square feet clean room, production space, more than 9 football fields. That is huge, right? We also have to build 13th floor or multi-story car park to support the employee car, because without this, there's no more space to park the car, because all this used to be a car park before. Now they are building on it, right? So we have to build a separate 30 multi-story car park behind this building to accommodate all the cars that belong to the employees, right? On top of that, we have 8 floors of general purpose office by the time this building is completed. Okay, so there's a huge going on. So this project we call Pelican. The one that before this, in Kulim, we call it Falcon. This one is called Falcon. Okay, right. This is a SMB group in KL that I just mentioned, right? So it's about 70% team. It is inside, I think it's somewhere in Mid Valley Mall, where the office is situated, right? So it deliver about what 7.1 billion revenue annually from Intel product perspective. Okay, and this is also an opportunity for you guys to join, right, down the road. Now, to your knowledge, right, engineer can actually go to a lot of areas, you know. If you are engineers, right, you can also become a sales team, because in order to sell electronic product, right, you have to know the technology behind the product, right? Who knows better in terms of technical, if not engineers, right? So if you are engineers, you want to become a salesperson, you can, you know, not necessarily be from the business school, whatever. Of course, business school also can join, right? Right. So this is opening, right? So hopefully, you know, it will create more opportunities so that you can have a bigger, a wider range of job that you can apply down the road, right? Okay. So this is some of the capability that what we call ATM. ATM stands for Assembly Test Manufacturing, right? This what is in our factory. So we have a mobile SoC, we have a desktop product, we have modem, PSG, 5G. We have different type of tester, you know, and then we have a different type of system to test the units. And all this is a very high-end, you know, technology of testing, right? You can hardly find any companies out there that have very high-end technology in doing testing and manufacturing. Okay, all right. Okay, I saw this. Okay. Okay, in terms of product and development area, this is where the evolution of the Penang and or Malaysian Intel Malaysia. We start from microcontroller in 1990, right? So and then we introduce a chipset design, and then we start doing the clients and server product in late 90s or early 2000. And then we start doing, you know, Atom SoC design, Internet of Things devices, and then we introduced FPGA in 2000. We introduced wireless product. We have also silicon photonics that we have in the late 2000 plus, right? And then we introduced graphic in last year. We start doing design our own graphic design capability in Penang, right? So in terms of technical competency, you know, from embedded design, chipset, all the way to external foundry. External foundry is the one that I said just now on be able to manufacture other device than Intel inside Intel, right? So make use of our capacity, technology to support semiconductor industry for those companies that don't have a factory, to be able to come up with their own product with using our manufacturing capability. Okay. Okay. So this is our values, right? Intel Malaysia values, right? We talk about customer first. We talk about fearless innovation. We are very result driven. we always talk about one Intel, and we care about inclusion, regardless of ethnic, gender, culture, religion, and so on, right? So we want to ensure that everybody is included in the community. We focus on quality, and last one, integrity. We are very transparent. We focus on discipline, safety, and so on, right? So as a summary, as I mentioned here, we are 13,000 plus employee, with 80% of them is in the technical area, right? We have more than 250 international knowledge workers. These are foreign workers, or expat that locally hired in our company in Malaysia, right? And so far, we have filed about 700 patents since 1994. So this patent is generated by our own Malaysian engineers and been patented in US or in Malaysia, my IPO. Okay, so there's quite a number of patents. So this is very key to ensure that our design capability is being recognized locally and internationally. Okay. Okay, so we have compiled this what we call impact of Intel investment in Malaysia. Okay, we talk about more than 500 million contribution to EPF, right? We talk about 10% of Malaysia total E&E export. So Intel contribute about 10% of the total E&E export in the Malaysia E&E export, right? 10% is coming from Intel, right? We have what? More than roughly 1 billion spent for 1,000 local suppliers entities. So the local SME that support the E&E benefit about more than RM1 billion ringgit per year, right? That is really bringing the ecosystem to support the semiconductor business in Malaysia, right? We talk about AI for S. We introduced what we call AI for S, AI for SME, right? We enable about 100 local SME with the AI starter kits. We work with the SME and MIDA. We introduce AI for you. This one is AI for university, right? So we teach student how to use AI technology. We have a program where we call AI for youth, right? So this is targeted for school, at the primary and secondary school and school levels, where they can join us in the boot camp workshop to learn how to use AI or build up skill for AI capability, so they can venture to new role or new job down the road, right? We have what we call a CSR program, 936 hours volunteers contribute Intel. So this is very key also, because we encourage Intel employees to become volunteers. They can support any charity organization, doing school program, teaching at school, or do some gotong royong or anything, right? That related to charity, so they can be part of the community around Intel campus, be it in Penang or Kulim, right? Okay, and what else? Okay, so these are some of the example of the community program that we have here. We have a festive cheer program. We have launching AI for youth. We have flood victims. We have Give Back Day 2021, where we give to the needies, or even the what we call back to school program, for example, right? We participate in the STEM program at the state and the national level, where we want to encourage school students in the primary and secondary school to pick up science subject in their school, so that they become involved in engineering down the road. Okay. Okay, there are more events that we are spotting. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the news that coming up recently. We have Intel Malaysia signed MOU to boost talent development. Penang continues to attract and retain talents. We talk about AI. MCAM Thanksgiving lunches, where MCAM is the American Malaysian Chambers of Commerce, right? Okay. Okay, there is more. Okay, all right. This is just a QR code if you want to connect to Intel on some of this Intel news program and so on. Okay, so I stop here for the Intel overview. So let's see if anybody has a question. So anybody to us?
Yeah. Anybody have a question? We ask.
Anything, any generic question or specific question about Intel that you want to know?
So maybe I can start, Mr. Farid. Some of the students who attend this session, they enroll in technology management bachelor degree program, and some of them are in the Department of Production Operation Management. So maybe you can share some facts or feedback beside the technical employee, engineer from Faculty of Electrical and Electronics. What is the the opportunity for this graduate from the Technology Management Faculty?
Okay, very good question. So yeah, I try to be as generic as possible, but I know that the attendance is not just engineering, but even engineering, they are very, not just E&E, they are from chemical, mechanical, and civil, whatever it is, right? And then you mentioned about from the business school or management school in general, right? So yeah, we do have a lot of opportunities in that area also, right? Not just from the technical engineering position. For example, when the Pelican and the Falcon factory is start, they need operation people. They need factory manager. They need a shift manager. They need a production supervisor. That is more on the management people side, right? And then they also hiring planners, right? Planners is those people who manage the supply chains, right? Ordering parts, component material for the production. So they are all planning, right? And then we have a procurement officer, where these are the ones that source the suppliers support and buying items to fill up or fit the factory, right? So this is one called procurement. And there are also HR, for example. They are business HR, right? They are CMB, compensation and benefit officer. They are training officer, right? So all these are also coming from non-engineering background. They are from business. They are from management. What I call area, right? So we do have a lot of this position also opening up, and I'm sure people from this business school, from the project management school, will be required to fill up a lot of this what I call exam level position that is non-technical, right? Even like site services, right? Who manage the project, building up the project, right? Also is a non-technical position, right? So it's a very key for this. Even in the, what we call D&D group, we do have people who support the engineers to do a project management, for example, right? To procure an item for the engineers, for example. So all this is non-technical, that but it is very crucial to make the whole what I call package, right, of the manufacturing and design and development team as a whole. Okay, hopefully I answered that, Nazar. Right.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So don't to be narrow, right? Because I think a lot of people mistaken that a factory is a factory, or it's just kilang, you know. But today, a lot of multinational companies, they not only have a factory, but they also have D&D, they have shared services, and this required a lot more non-technical graduate to be filled up than just manufacturing. Okay. And when you say manufacturing also, today manufacturing, today kilang is a much different from old type of kilang. You know, when old type of kilang, you know, you see a bulky machine, maybe there's some grease, and you expect ladies engineer to squat under the machine, you know, with greasy hands, screwdriver. No. Today we don't have that type of machine. Everything is what we call electronic, you know, computerized machine that you control from from the keyboard, and there's a workstation that control the performance of the machine, right? The technician will handle some of this when he got jammed or whatever, but the engineer control the machine basically from the workstation and the monitors. Or some of them even don't go to the production floor, they just stay at the office and look from the monitor and the office, right? So, and a lot of these design engineers also, they don't go to the production floor at all, and they are seldom also go to the labs. They are designing from their desktop or from their server at the office, or even from home. Today, most of our engineers are working from home, you know. So how you do design from home is because today all the design effort is using our laptops from home that connect to the system, and you can design from anywhere you are. You know, even we do hire people from Vietnam that work as a designer in Malaysia, and they are remotely stay in Vietnam, for example. We do that. We're going to hire people from Indonesia, for example, or from Philippines, for example, or there's some from Singapore, for example. Because of the COVID, whatever it is, they don't come to Malaysia. They just work from the country, right? But of course, when things get better, when people can start moving, then they will come back and work from the site, you know. But the capability is there, right? Okay, all right.
So,
Yes.
seems we got some question here from Afik Umar Cemaddin. He asked about he has read an article stating that the data science industry is booming at this moment. I have taken an external course related with data science. So is it good to move for me to do so? And does Intel looking for data
Very
scientists?
Good question. And I tell you that data scientist now is one of the job #1, right? If you say you are data scientist, you go to most multinational company, even local company, you say you are data scientist, you most probably will be hired on the spot. I guarantee you one, right? So you go to Intel, you go to Google, you go to Facebook, you go to Microsoft, any multinational company, and you say you are data scientist, you'll be able to, you know, write software, Python, C++, whatever, and, you know, analyze and generate algorithm on AI computation, you will be hired. Okay, regardless of what background you are, you know, whether you are engineers or business, even finance, whatever it is. But if you be able to say that you are data scientist on finance, for example, Finex, right? Then you will get hired, I guarantee you. You know, not only multinational, but also local company. You go to banks, you go to any small company. Today, even a small company start investing a lot of money to be able to do some AI computation in their platform. Okay.
Okay, sir, for the next question is from Kairen day. Sir, does Intel has any intention in expanding the company to the East Malaysia?
Very good question. Not that I know of, but who knows, right? Because normally Intel will also invest on the position where first they can hire the right people from the area, right? Secondly, whether there's an ecosystem that can support the organization or not. You can build a factory or a design, but there's no ecosystem to support the factory, then it doesn't work also, right? So Penang and Kulim, they are very close by. There are a lot of ecosystem set up in Penang that not only support Intel, but other companies, right? And they are close to Kuala Lumpur and also Singapore. So all this ecosystem is available to service Intel and multinational company so that they can react and respond. And they also talk about logistics. But today the key one is talent. Can you hire the talent within the community or not? So if there's no talent, you can build a very big factory, but you cannot hire the right talent, then you cannot exist. That's one of the key that we are also looking at, how to develop more talent to support new technology and new community in Malaysia. Okay. All right.
All right, sir. And the next question from Tay Sutat. Hi, sir. May I know Intel company have the job that related with AI, such as machine learning? Did the Intel company is looking for expert in AI?
Yes, I said already just now, we are looking a lot of from data scientists that have the AI skill. Okay, so in most of our activities, be in design, be in the manufacturing, we are looking for people who can do what we call data mining, because we have tons of data mining capability and expertise that we need to ensure that we can continue, grow, and become more productive and efficient in whatever we do in the factory. Okay. Yes, we need expert in AI. Okay, next. No more.
Okay. So is there any question? Any more?
I have question.
Okay, go
Please.
ahead.
Okay, so my name is Nabil. I have a question. Some of my friends have graduated from the university, so they told me that they are afraid to work as engineers. So do you have any words on them? Because they are too afraid, because they say that all the responsibilities is on their shoulder and they don't know how to do their works and tasks, everyday tasks. So you have words for them?
Okay. From my experience, right, that's what you call as engineer, right? So engineer responsibility is to solve engineering problem, right? So that's why you are trained to be an engineer. If you are a business guy, you are trained to solve a business issues, right? So that's why there is a business school, right? So any school that teach the fundamental theory of some sort of skill is been taught and should be used for certain purpose. So if you have you are been taught to be engineers, that's what you should do, right? There's nothing like oh, it's afraid. There's a you cannot do. There have many people that even from where I start before I start as a fresh graduate, right? As people who know nuts about manufacturing, whatever it is, So when I come back from my study, I joined Intel. I was like 23 years old. I start interface with the US people since day one, right? And I was like, cool. Now I'm working with the US people, right? And they talk a lot and they know what they are talking about, and you just fresh graduate. But that doesn't mean that I have to give up. And after a few months, I was given a task of doing a new technology on the testing area, right? So I'm the one that first introduced what we call parallel testing. In 1 year, I come up with that project and I was recognized, right? And immediately I was sent to US to work with them on certain higher project. So it's not that we, because it's a new things, a new venture, right? That you never do before, that doesn't mean that you cannot do it, right? If everybody cannot do it, then of course, then no factory, nothing will be built in Malaysia, right? So I think we should build our confidence. We should look around and see our senior guys, and we can get mentorship from them, and talk about how to become better engineer, how to learn new things, right? Because I'm sure that the problem that you see, some of them is happened before, that you can reuse back the solution, or it's a new problem that you see that you need to figure out as engineer on the solution. That's why you become engineer, right? So it's nothing that is a burden, whatever. It's just a problem that you need to solve as an engineer. Okay. Okay. I saw you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Maybe you can proceed with the second half of the sharing.
Second half. I saw there's one question here. Okay, this is from Aiman. Sir, does Intel hire civil engineers? If yes, what they do? Oh, okay. This is a very good question, because I know there is one civil engineer guy who enter or join Intel as a shift manager, and later become factory manager, and he is civil engineer background. See, but civil engineer can also hire by Intel for CS, for example, the site services, right? So we need civil engineer for building landscape, retrofitting a building, retrofitting some production area. So civil engineer do required by Intel for site services activities. And for example, if a new factory being built, who they will be joining the project? Civil engineer, right? So to answer, yes, we do hire civil engineers, but there are cases where civil engineers also work in a different area other than civil engineer itself, become factory manager, become HR, become different things that because Intel actually will see after a while, hey, what is your really interest, and if you can do the job, hey, go on, do the job. Okay, all right. Hopefully answer your question. Okay, I will save that for a later question. So I will move to the next presentation. Okay. This is the one. Where is? I think it is one. Okay. You can see my page, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay, so this second presentation, so it's 3:30, yeah. So we have okay, I'm focusing on what we call a process pengembangan pekerja di era baru, right? So I just go through some of the what we call what is job availability, what is it takes to become employable by employability. We talk about graduate employability, right? And we talk about what is you need to be prepared when you go interview, especially for Intel. So this experience, this tip is coming from me, who has been interviewing a lot of potential graduate that supposed to join Intel in the past, right? So some of the information inside here is a tips, you know, in case you go and into interview, right? Hopefully you have you look at these tips, you know, so that it will help you to be employed by Intel. Okay, all right. So this what you call is some tips, right? Okay. So we talk about opportunity in industry. So this is a non-technical. So just now, Encik Nazar asked about, you know, what is a non-technical opportunities in Intel, right? So let's look at the manufacturing. So for example, we have a production supervisor, we have production superintendent, we have shift manager, and we have factory manager. So all this is non-technical opportunities in manufacturing. Actually, there's a lot more. If I break this into a different level, there are a lot more, right? Okay. Now we look at the services area, right? So we have legal, we have finance. Under finance, we have finance controller, we have procurement, we have buyer, we have product pricing, right? So these are different type of job under finance that you can apply, right? Human resource, we have a business group HR, for example. We have CMB officer, we have training officer, we have staffing officer. Staffing officer, those officers that what I call do the hiring, right? They are recruiting people, they are checking who is out there want to join Intel, right? They are reviewing resume, right? And then even within HR, there are project officer, right, who manage project, because there's a lot of activity on coordinating, managing the activities within the HR group itself, right? And then we talk about supply chain management. Of course, inside there we have production planner, right? Those planners that are responsible of managing the what I call manufacturing of the product within the production floor. We have material planner, planner that manage the what I call material sourcing to fill up the production in the manufacturing floor, right? And then we talk about sales and marketing, right? We have a business development manager, right? And then we have a site facility services. So these are all those you know, people who are non-technical degree, which have opportunities to join Intel, for example. And I believe this is also applied to other MNC, like, you know, we have a lot in Malaysia, right? We have Infineon, we have Cetera in Kulim, for example. In Batu Kawan, we have a lot more. There's a Keysight, there's a Micron, there's Western Digital. All this is about similar semiconductor, and I believe they are also have this position opening from time to time. Okay, but if you can join Intel, you join Intel first, right? Okay, and then under the D&D and R&D, we have the business development manager. So if you are business school, you can apply business development manager in the R&D or design and development. And then we have material program manager. These are the people who help to support the material sourcing for the engineers during their project development. And then we have program manager. Program manager is those, every time we design new products, right? We need a program manager, because this program manager will consolidate the activities, the timeline, who's on what, and then keep track the progress of the project from time to time. So program manager is a very key for the ND. And some of them, they are coming from, converted from engineer itself, and some of them have some sort of MBA, and after a while they know a little bit of the engineering what I call management, so they join program manager. Okay, all right. Now for the engineer, so in manufacturing we have this is example. There actually there's a lot more. So we have production engineer. Production engineer can be people from electronic, people from chemical, people from process engineering. You know, there is a IE type base of engineers, right? Which is also non-electronic, right? There are chemical, there are material engineer, right? So there's a product engineer, process engineer, maintenance engineer, test, QA, software engineer, equipment engineer, facilities engineers, environmental engineers, and material engineers. So these are examples of the engineers that are working on the manufacturing floor, right? Services, right? So if you are an engineer, what type of job you can work in the services? See, there are field engineer, even human resource. I know there are a couple of engineers that become human resource, you know, they become HR, right? There's one guy who are really design engineers, but end up become talent marketing officer because he was so well on the media, public relation tools, right? And they like this TikTok lah, all this. So he become a talent marketing who really work on all this platform to find talent. And he know what the engineer's background because he used to be engineer himself, right? And he become human resource HR person, right? There's a field engineer. Field engineer is those people who support engineering at the field, at the customer. Let's say there's a customer fail, right? And they say, hey, your Intel product is failed, right? So these are the people who will work with the customer at the field to figure out whether Intel product is the problem or is it customer problem or whose problem, right? So this is what we call field engineer, right? Sale and service engineer. Now, as I mentioned, sales and service engineer, those people who support the sales and marketing guys. So when the sales and marketing guy need more technical support in terms of explaining how the product work, whatever it is, right? Then the engineer who is a sales and service work go in and support the sales team, right? And we have a marketing engineer. Well, this is marketing engineer is the one that upfront when they want to sell product. These people go and tell, okay, Intel has this product can run at 2 gigahertz and can clocking and not and can do this function or that. So marketing engineer is the person who well in the technical terms and when they are doing the marketing, right? And we have application engineer. So for example, customer need a new type of application and they don't know how to use our product in this new application. So the application engineer will go in and tell them how to use our product in that new application, right? Or we develop new applications for the customer. We have product engineer who know the product and from A to Z. We have quality engineers. If there is a product fail, whatever it is, right? So this engineer will go in and check whether there's quality issues on our product. We have software engineer and we have material engineer, right? So this can become from different ways. It's not necessarily from E&E only, but it can become from different type of engineering background, okay? And then in the D&D, we have, this is a very high level kind of what we call position, because within this product development, there are a lot more finer detail of engineering position, right? There's IC design, system design, package development, field engineer, application engineer. I can give you in the next page. I think there's, okay. Okay, this is the degree that we hire. We hire a Bachelor of Science, we have Master Science or PhD. We are hiring electrical and computer engineering, computer science, chemical engineer, industrial engineer, material science engineering, mechanical engineering. So all different background we do hire, right? Because we do need mechanical engineering in the design. Let's say, for example, you are designing motherboards, right? The height of the component of the motherboard that used on the motherboard is determined by mechanical engineers. They call it what call design what you call safety zone or something like that. So the height of the component must not exceed certain height, so that when the board is being put in the motherboard or slide into a slot, it can fit very well, right? So that is determined by mechanical engineer. So we do hire mechanical engineer in the design team, for example. There are not many, but there are. For example, mechanical engineer also know about thermodynamics. Is what you call this thermal what you call thermal spread around the boards, right? Which part of the motherboard has the highest hit compared to different part, right? So if you don't design your components correctly, then you have one corner of the board is very heaty, but the other side is very cold, right? So where you want to put your speed, this fan, right? Whether you blow the right angle throughout the system so that it keep the whole system cool, or then you have hot spot in the system that will, in the long term, make the system fail, right? So this is determined all by mechanical engineers, right? Okay. Okay, this one is, I give you examples. Just now, when I click the design engineers, this is for electronic engineers, at the DND, very few, right? But if I break down all the position inside the design and development teams, you can see there's a lot, there's engineering operation manager, there's system software engineer, there is what you call data scientist, there are product marketing engineers, security engines, IP, hardware, architect, we do have architect. Architect is the guy who are very expert in certain areas, and they are called architect. So we have platform architect, we have senior hardware design. So you see, I don't know how many of the breakdown we can have. So these are the sample of the job posting by Intel DND to tell that we are looking this type of people, right? So actually, there's a lot, a lot more breakout in terms of the job positioning. So which I cannot list down here, is quite too many. All right. Okay. Now, if you are in the manufacturing area, right? So they are looking for a very hardworking people, very due diligent people, obedient, right? Process, procedure, and memory, right? Obedient means because you cannot just simply change the process in the manufacturing as what you like, right? So you have to follow procedures and protocol to ensure that what the product that they come up is the same all the time, right? If there's something wrong, you might stop the process and figure out, and then turn on back in a very orderly manner, right? You must go A, B, C, D, E. You cannot A, go to C, skip here. No, right? So you have to follow the process and make sure that everything has been in order and it's a very safety environment, right? In manufacturing, we really encourage teamwork and interdependence. I mean, you will depend on each other to make the thing work, right? We focus on result, numbers, and quality. Numbers mean volume, right? Because manufacturing, you talk about high volumes, right? So if you make one mistake, if you don't act on it, you will, in about 1 hour, it become millions, right? Focus on resolve concern, problem, and troubleshooting. There's a lot of optimization. You have to be versatile and proactive. Okay, this is just some character. What is the environment looking for? What type of people? If you are working in the services, right? For example, you have the hard work. Listen is key. Understand customer needs, because when you are in the services, actually you are serving people, right? You're not working with a machine. You're working with people. So you must have the listen capability, right? You need to fill up the gaps. You can communicate, then you can talk, right? Understand your product in a very confident manner. Of course, when you deal with people, you must have a lot of patience and courage, right? Expect the unexpected, right? Your knowledge has been very broad, So if you are HR in a manufacturing company like Intel, you not only know about people, you have to generally know about Intel product, about the manufacturing, the environment. So your knowledge, not just about people, but about the whole organization. That's what broad knowledge is all about, right? Make balanced decision, right? So you need to understand the impact of your decision in terms of people, in terms of operation, in terms of corporate, right? So you need to balance it to ensure that the whatever decision made is can cover, all angles, right? You must have a strong personality and credibility. I think that's the key in the service environment. Okay, so in the R&D environment, you need to have a lot of interest, because there are a lot of variation in the D&D. They talk about design. Some people talk about, they like to work in front of computer, right? Some people like to do software, right? But some people, they are very interested in hardware portion, building motherboards, building system level. So if you ask them to design IC, they don't like it, because they say, no, I look at a very high level, which is at the system level, right? So you must have the interest of what you want to do, right? Then you can be successful. But if you force yourself to do something that you don't like, then I guarantee you don't last long, right? So you must have passion and love what you're doing, right? Okay, then you must have a lot of courage, risk-taking. You cannot say, oh, this is a burden. I mean, just to answer the question that we had before, right? Oh, these unknown things, how to solve this problem, but that's what the engineer is all about, right? To engineer solution, right? So you must have a lot of courage, you must have a lot of risk-taking, and you have to have a lot of accurate decision. And accurate decision based on facts, based on data, not just hearsay, plug on the air, okay, this one, oh, 20, 30. No, it has to collect based on data. It has to be on observation, right? So a lot of this thing has to be based on facts, right? And when you have all these facts, you can be confident in what you're doing, right? And we're not just about result, but we are also focused on how and why. You have to be curious when you do a research and development project, right? So if you just want to it be done, then your result can be just half designed, right? But you don't know what actually you design for, how you get it better, or why you actually design this for what purpose, right? So you have to be curious, right? And you have to be very broad, at the same time, very strong fundamental, broad and deep, So you know in horizontal, but you also know one or two items that very deep, right? So then you can survive, right? Master of Science or PhD, is encouraged, in Malaysia, it's very tough to find a master and PhD graduate that want to work. Most of them end up in the university or whatever. But regardless of that, there are quite a number of master and PhD we hired. We do also have program what we call employee assisted program, where we fund the employee to continue master or PhD part-time. Okay, and the last bullet there, open-minded, innovation, critics, and teamwork. Okay. So these are the typical of the question from potential employee, right? What is it role of this organization? How well is aligned to overall Intel strategic direction? What is the organization profile, major function, and what are the positions available, right? So this question you need to have in your mind. You need to figure out or do some searching in the web, in the internet. Hey, what is Intel? What is Intel doing, right? So when you go for interview, you know actually what you are applying for and what is required, right? So that is where you are ready, right, to apply the job. You don't go in and then when people ask, so what do you know about Intel? I don't know. Intel semiconductor, So what is Intel's latest product? You don't know, right? But if you are really keen on getting a job in Intel or other company, you should make some research on what is Intel is doing. How many sites Intel have in Malaysia, for example, right? What are the latest product, for example, right? And so on, right? So this will help you to be prepared and be kind of understand what job of type of job that is you want to apply in Intel, right? Okay. And most important, is the working environment good? Okay, this is the question that you also want to know ahead of time, right? Whether, is this the organization that you want to apply and work if you got the job, right? Because a lot of people did not make a thorough decision, research before join, and in the end, when he joined after 1 year, he left the company because he found, oh, this is not what I want, type of job that I like, right? So, and a lot of people also doesn't know what is Intel is doing and what environment. For example, as I said just now, right? When people say, oh, Intel kilang ni is kilang, kilang, what kilang factory, but they don't know that the factory now is much different from the old factory. Factory now is a high-tech company. You can even wear, baju kurung to the office, like you go to the government office, you don't have to wear, pants all the time, whatever it is. So you can wear anything that suitable for working environment, right? You don't have to wear a glove or that unless you work in the factory itself, right? But other than that, as engineer, it's a different type of environment, right? So you'll see that the office today is like 5-star hotel office. It's a very different environment. Okay. Okay. Now we move on what we call marketable graduates. So what are those things that make you more marketable as a graduate? That means you have to understand the component of success. What makes you success as an engineer or as a business manager or anything as a material or procurement officer, for example, right? Knowing the opportunities and market. So today, is it employer market or employee market? Because lately there's a lot of companies opening up in Batu Kawan, in Kulim, for example, right? They are now, and Intel is building new factory, for example, right? Now out there are what we call talent war, right? We are trying to get and hire the right candidate to fill up this new factory, new office, new R&D, right? And not many out there right now, right? So there is a lot of talent war. It's happening right now. And so you as a potential employee, right, you need to understand which skill, which area that need what and which company, right? So once you understand that, when you go and apply that company, your opportunity to get a job will be very high, right? So for example, in the electronic, Intel, there's an Austrian company open up in Kulim. They also will be hiring about 2,000 to 3,000 engineers, right? In the next 2 years, for example, right? There's one in Batu Kawan, there's a Lam Research, there's a Western Digital, there's a Micron opening up in Batu Kawan. That also is looking for engineers, right? And I believe not just electronic, it also hiring mechanical, chemical engineer, and of course a business related degree, right? So a lot of these opportunities are, but you have to know what are the companies, where they are, whether it's northern region, whether they are in Selangor or in southern region. I think the top 3 is in Penang, in Kulim, Kedah, and in Selangor, if I'm not mistaken. There's 3 states has the highest opening because all these companies open up in these 3 states. Okay. So if you want to relocate in northern region, then you have a lot of the in Penang and in Kulim, Kedah, right? If you want to stay in the center, then it will be in Selangor. Okay. In sync with employers need. Okay. Now, then you need to understand what actually the employer need. If the employer need electronic, the employer needs data scientist, the employer needs a process engineer, the employer need management employees, right? So if you know what they are looking for, then you can narrow down your resume to fit what they want. Okay, understanding yourself. Now you need to understand yourself, what you are good at, what is your strength, right? Your strength, are you not just academic, your CGPA 3.5 or 3-pointer, but then are you a very communicative guy, you really outspoken guy? Are you what you call able to network with people, right? So if you work as in the manufacturing floor, for example, you need to be really outspoken and very strong in leadership, So if you used to be a president of society, president of ping pong, or president of taekwondo, or silat, then most likely you will be successful in managing people on the production floor or on the project basis or whatever it is, right? But if you are a very quiet person, but your academic background is very strong, you're 4-pointer, for example. So which area that you can work is work as a scientist, for example. You work in the lab, you work in design area where the communication with other people is very less, because you are really working with your system or workstation to design something in front of computer. Until 5 years later, only you start to talk to people, right? So by understanding where is your strength is very important, so that you can fit the job that you apply, right? If you are very quiet people, you want to apply for a job in manufacturing floor, I don't think you will be successful. Okay. Preparation and planning. We will go through that later on, how you prepare and planning for the job interview, right? So this is very key. A lot of people do not prepare, even when you ask, where is your copy of resume? Oh, I don't know. I just walked in. I saw this. I just dropped by, and I just want to look and see what is out there, test. It cannot, If you want test and see, you don't come and see, It's not a good try and see whether you can fit, And you come in with the, if you have a face-to-face walk in, you come with the jeans with koyak jeans, I can see your knee, whatever it is, and you wear slippers, and all these things is not, you have to be prepared and do a proper planning before you go and apply the job, right? Okay. Okay, so sorry. So what are type of skill the industry is looking for? The people, the industry are looking for based on knowledge, skill, and attitude. This is very key, right? The knowledge is the knowledge that you acquire from your 4 years study, right? Your competency, what is your competency, whether in chemical, electronic, or business management, and so on. Your skill, this talk about your behavior, interpersonal skill, right? Whether you can communicate, how you do networking, how you cope with pressure, how you do a problem solving. So these are the skills that hopefully you acquire during your co-curriculum activities. You are president of, or you're organizing something, or you're coordinating an event, whatever it is. So all this skill is very important. From hands-on, for example, you go for your internship period, right? So that's a skill that if you acquire during that time, right? So this skill is very important, and some of the people fail because of this skill. They are not prepared, right? And talk about attitude. This is very important, right? Are you a very cocky because you are 4.0? You look, you are smart enough, and you play down the interviewer, right? You think you are so smart and you're demanding, right? So you cannot do that, right? Or you show that you are very aggressive, you are a very rough person, right? You don't care about other people. This all can be tested during the interview. So you must show a very right attitude. For example, how do you know whether you are very disciplined people? Then you're supposed to come to interview at 10 o'clock, but you only come at 10:30, and you wait the interviewer to wait there and waiting for you. and you come in lenggang, and just you don't greet the interviewer properly, shake hand, for example, right? So all this is about attitude, right? Your discipline, right? So if you don't show a very good discipline, a good attitude, then most likely you won't get a job, right? So you have to be a bit humble, but at the same time relax and be prepared for the interview, right? So there are a lot of things that people can test you. For example, the bullet number 2, desire to learn, unlearn, and relearn. You see, quite a number of surveys said, almost 40–50% of what you learn in university sometimes is not used when it's not applied during your job, actually. So because technology will change, right? What you learn in the first year will change in the second year, and by the time of 5 years, it totally become new technology, right? So you have to have desire to learn, unlearn back, and learn new things, right? AI, nobody talked about AI 5–10 years ago, right? And people know about Internet of Things only. But today, if you want to be successful the next 5 years, you have to learn AI, right? You have to forget about embedded design, for example. You have to learn more software, whatever it is, to become more successful, right? For example, right? Okay. Okay. So what is the employability skills, right? It's the skill that enable you to apply your technical skill to a variety of jobs, right? So you can carry what your knowledge to the next different job as you want, because there are certain things that, for example, just now I said about learn, unlearn, and relearn, right? So if you have this type of personality, you are quick learner, you are eager to learn, it means that, hey, whatever job change out there, you don't worry, because you can easily learn, and you like to learn, and you are a fast learner, right? So this kind of behavior will really help you to advance your career in the job, right? Okay. Okay. So they help you to perform better in the workplace. For example, interpersonal skill, you have a strong teamwork, for example, right? So you like to work with people, then it will help you perform better, because today you cannot do any task single-handedly, because the job is so complicated, so sophisticated. You depend on other people, depend on each other to help to solve the big problem. No way you can solve one big problem on your own. Today, that's no, right? You have to form a team to solve the problem. So that skill of a teamwork is very important to ensure that you can stay together and complete the job, right? So it can be used in any future job, it help you organize, achieve more goals, okay? Okay, so if you are a boss and you want your employee to have, what type of skill you want your employee to have? If you are hiring a plumber, librarian, teacher, secretary, shop attendant. See, all these people have their own, what we call competence, right? Competence skill. So for plumber, how to align the pipe, how to fix the pipe, for example. Librarian know what book, where the shelf is here, right? The teacher know what subject they want to teach, shop attendant, and so all these have their own competency knowledge, right? But what are the skills that required from this potential employee to become a very good employee in your organization if you are the boss? Okay, the question is this, right? So these are some of the 8 skills, right, that are very important for employee to have in order for them to be a successful employee in the company. First is communication, be able to communicate, what to communicate, what not to communicate, and how often you can communicate. whether you can speak English, you can speak Malay, you speak Mandarin, you know, all these have their own purpose and function, right? So in English, a multinational company, then you expect to have a good command of English, for example, right? So if you deal with the China people in China, then you have to be able to speak Mandarin, for example, right? Teamwork is very key. As I said, today, problem you cannot solve single-handedly. You will have to work as a team, right? And work as a team has its own challenge, right? Self-management, how you manage yourself, your what I call what to do first, your how long you want to do this, when. So this is your self-management, right? What to do, what to prioritize, what to be ZBB, for example, right? So this is what self-management is all about, right? Learning skill. So are you the people who is fast learner, or are you the people who like to read books, or read when you surf internet, what area of the internet that you search, right? Are you reading ebooks, or you go to watch movie only, or what, right? So all this is a learning skill capability, right? Problem solving is very key. How to solve problem very systematically. So if you are given a task, how you approach solving the problem, right? Are you breaking down the problem into a small problem, or you start with A, B, C, D, or you just jump from A to D? Is that working? Might not, right? And then talk about technology. Are you a tech savvy or not? Are you be able to use a laptop? Are you be able to do programming or not, right? So if you aware of the media tools today or not, right? So some people just know how to use the phone, for example, but when they ask to, hey, can you snap a photo? Can you print screen? Or they don't know, right? So all this technology is coming very fast, and you should be able to adopt this technology in your daily work, right? Planning and organization. So these are the very key skills. So you need to be able to plan and organize whatever you're doing, right? If you don't plan, you don't organize, that's where you end up, you know, not knowing which one to start first, which one to focus, which one to prioritize, right? And how many resources you need, how many people, how much budget, and you know, how much time you needed. So this all skill about planning and organization. This not talk about engineering skill. No. It is, so as engineer, you need to know how to plan and organize your work. So this is skill that is very important. Okay. And then the last one is initiative and enterprise, right? So you must have a lot of initiative, desire to do something different, to challenge status quo, to resourceful, what I call independently resource person, right? Rather than depending on certain people, your boss to do, the boss say only you do, you know, the boss doesn't say you don't do, right? But if you see something different, you see something is wrong, you take initiative to solve the problem, figure out what's happening, and you create the energy or the group to go and tackle the problem. Right? This is what we call initiative and enterprise. Don't wait until people ask you to do, only you do, right? Okay, this behavior is very key, right? You need to be able to challenge the status quo. You need to be able to challenge your boss. Hey, boss, why we always do this? Can we do this differently or not? You know, that's the type of character or behavior that we want from our employees. Okay, okay. Hopefully, I give you some high level. There's a lot of examples you want to go through, right? But these are 8 of the employability skills that is very important if the person want to be hired by a company, right? And some of the interviewers will test this. You know, later I will show you there's a 2 types of interview. One is the technical interview. The other one, we call it behavior interview. And behavior interview, we will test about all these 8 items. It can be more than it. There's item about integrity, which I did not list here, right? So we can test how you do a problem solving, for example. How do you do your teamwork? You know, give a scenario, for example, how you solve your teamwork issues, right? For example, you are a leader, you run a project, and then there's somebody is not performing. How you deal with that as a manager, for example, right? So this is what we call behavioral interview. So there are two types of interview. One is technical, one is behavior. You might pass the technical behavior, but if you fail the behavior interview, you will not get a job, right? Okay. Okay, this is just a process, right? From you need to plan and prepare before you go for interview apply. Just start from writing a resume, right? What format you use and what credential that you put in your resume. These are all very key. You know, some people will have just one-page resume, but it has enough information that will attract the interviewer to look further and read further in the resume. And then from there, you say, wow, this guy, because he point out the right things that the interviewer want to see, right? If the interviewer is looking for data scientist, you put some skill, put there, I know Python ++ software. Ooh, you know, for sure the data scientist interviewer say, wow, this guy know Python, you know, I should go for that. So that triggered the interviewer interest to go to the next level, right? So you need to put the right stuff in your resume for the right job. Okay. So writing resume is very critical. You know, don't put all the garbage inside there. That too many things to put there, and the interviewer keep looking what is the one that is missing. The one that is looking is missing or embedded somewhere. Is too much to read, right? Right. So you put a 2-3 pages. Nobody want to read. They will just read the front one. Okay. And then when you want to submit, you must always have a ready soft copy with you. You know, somebody will carrying a thumb drive anywhere, right? So inside the thumb drive, they have a soft copy of their resume. So anytime is required, you have ready to upload it to anybody or pass it to somebody, right? And you have to know the company website where to upload your resume. And some people use referral, right? They know referral. There are people who in the company been given some incentive to look for potential employee. They call it the referral program. These people will get a lot of incentive, like, you know, maybe a couple of thousand ringgit if they manage to, the company manage to hire a good candidate which referred by these people, right? And then there are quite many type of media link that you can use. There are Facebook, there's Twitter, there's some people use WhatsApp. You know, all this media link is very important that you should be able to use and upload your resume as accordingly based on what the advertisement call for, right? Right. Then if you successful got interview, the interview today mostly done virtually. Before that, we have face-to-face, right? But today, in Intel, we normally do virtual interview because of the COVID, right? So most of the interview today is virtual. So you have to be prepared what to do when you are called for virtual interview. Make sure your, for example, your network connection is very strong. You know, don't in the middle of the interview your network gone because you connect to some free broadband at the you know, beside some buildings, whatever it is, right? And the end, the broadband was very weak, and then you kind of hang in the middle, right? Don't go to find a very good broadband networking, you know, either using your phone, whatever it is, or where is the signal is very strong, and make sure that you have a very strong connection, right? And if you happen to go to face-to-face, you know, face-to-face, that means your appearance, your timely, even your virtual interview, right? Make sure that you know what link, you know, whether Zoom, you know, Weber or Team link is there, and what time. Don't log in late. You can log in early, there's no problem, right? But you know, you say that the virtual face-to-face is at 4 o'clock, you only log in at 4:10. That shows that you are late, right? So that is maybe some attitude problem. The interviewer was waiting for you for 10 minutes, you didn't show up, right? So not only face to face, now virtual also can show that how disciplined you are, right? Even virtual, so you have to do a proper dressing, right? Make sure your background is a good background, don't put some background that is not so good, even you are in a room, make sure that your room is properly, right? So it reflects who you are, right, to the potential interviewer. Okay, so there is, of course, advantage between face-to-face and virtual, but in today's environment, most of the interview is done virtually. Okay, all right. So planning for interview, when you are applying for any job, you keep in mind your applicant will create an initial impression in the mind of interviewer. Okay, make this impression the lasting one, right? Make sure that you are very confident, and then I will show some of the basic things, do and don'ts. For example, okay, do's in the job interview: dress properly for the job interview. Even if you are doing virtual virtual interview, right? Make sure that you wear a proper clothes, right? Don't wear singlet, whatever it's like, and then it doesn't look good, right? Although you are at home, but wear a proper dressing. If you want to wear a tie, whatever, it's okay because you're at home, right? Nobody will look at you, right? So only the interviewer will look at you, right? So do a dress properly. And it will show that you are serious and interested in the job, right? As I said, know the location. If you need to know the link, the Zoom, I will make sure that you have the right link in the Zoom, and then what time the interview should start, right? All right, you log in early before the schedule to ensure that you are very punctual guy, right? Greetings, say good morning, whatever it is, give a salam, whatever it is, and then make sure you have eye contact. Even you have face-to-face, don't look at the ceiling, blah, 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 left and right, look at the front of the camera, right? And have a eye-to-eye contact person. Even, turn on your video. Okay, that's one. Turn on your video, right? Don't turn off your video. Turn on your video to make sure that the interviewer can see your face and you can see the interviewer face. Okay, sit straight on the chair and avoid cross hands or legs. Legs you cannot see, right? But hands, you just like that, all the time. It show means what you are a very defensive person. Okay. Do ask some question related to your applied job, and what is the job, if you how many type of job available. You can ask some of this generic question if you want to make the conversation alive and related to what the job interview is all about. Okay. Don'ts. Okay, there are some don'ts here. Do not chew a gum during the interview. Some people has a habit chew the chewing gum, right? So don't do that. Okay, don't depend on your application to get you hired. It means that, wow, your resume is so impressive, and then you just depend that, oh, your impressive resume will get you hired. It's not. Your interviewing process is another key factor to make sure that you can get hired by the company. Okay. You need to market your specialized traits and skill, right? So what is your strength? That's what important. What is your strength and what is your special skill that you think you are over the age of other people that go into the interview? So emphasize on, oh, I'm very good in this, and I'm doing this for the last time I got straight A's in the university and I went to a competition, I'm champion, right? So if you can answer what is your strength and emphasize on strength, I think that is the one that really put you above the other candidates, right? Don't interact with the employers, and if you are not in need of the job and you have plenty of offers, it's like you are cocky, right? Anyway, Mr. Farid, I have 2 job interview after this. If you want me, you have to say it now. If not, you try to be play cocky or a little bit, you know. No, don't do that, right? And then don't show you are too desperate for the job. Oh, please, you are begging, you are saying, oh, if I don't have the job, it's a matter of life and death, you know, or something like that, right? So don't do that, right? Stay calm and answer the interview question properly and candidly, right? And do not lie during the interview, you know. I have detected a lot of people lying, you know, because this can be checked easily, you know, if you can go to the what I call the referee that you provide, you can just call, or you can check, call the university, whatever. So do not lie. There's a way to check whether you lie or not, right? Okay. Okay, so these are the tips for the what we call surviving the technical and behavior interview. So I always do this. I always do a technical and I always do behavioral interview. Some people, they interview the technically because they are the technical manager, but they will let HR do the behavior interview. So some, myself, I do both, okay? What is a technical interview is assess the candidate knowledge and expertise in the job scope, right? Technical job scope are those typical taught through formal education, right, in university, right? So it's a very technical. So if you are chemical, you're electronic, then I will ask all about electronics subject, right, that you've been taught in the school or in the technology, whatever it is, right? So if you are good, you are good. If you are, say, you are a data scientist, then I will ask about all the data scientist question. That is what we call technical interview, right? Is evaluate interviews answer to determine a candidate competency level. So how good you are in the competency of the job scope, right? Now, so what is the behavior interview? Evaluate a candidate experience and behavior in order to mean their potential success, right? So I can predict your performance in the future based on your past behavior. For example, I want to test you on your problem solving skill, right? Then I say, okay, give a case where there's a big problem, you know, happen in your life or during your university times, you know, and you are asked to solve this problem. So how you go about solving the problem? Give me a case, right? So you have to think of a situation that happened during your university time or maybe your other times that the issue was so big, and how do you go about solving the problem? How you identify the problem statement? How you think of the solution or to get data? So if you know what the problem solving step or techniques that you can answer the question successfully. But if you just hentam, you know, just go and try to be smart, but actually there's no technique at all, we will know, right? You go ahead and say, oh, okay, solve the problem, easy, what, you know, take this and try this, if it's not, try again, you know. So that might not work, okay? All right. Okay. Okay, so some of the interview content, okay, there are certain type of question, right, can be asked. Okay, this just for your knowledge, there's open-ended question, there's closed-end question. So when I ask about open-ended question, I expect you to say a lot more than just say yes or no. Okay, for example, right, describe the event which can be used to as what you call to rate a skill, right? So, or maybe you say, okay, have you, how's your lunch, right? When I say how's your lunch, the answer to be, oh, I have a good lunch. You know, actually, I buy a chicken rice, and you know, the chicken is so big and the rice is so fluffy. You know, so the answer is quite a big one paragraph statement. You know, not yes or no. If I say, have you got lunch? Then the answer will be yes or no. That is what closed-end question. So it means that the answer will be yes or no, right? But if I want more, then hey, how actually the chicken rice, you know? Don't say good, bad. No, then there's a closed end. But I expect it is open-ended question, and you should answer, oh, the chicken rice is very, very good, you know, but it's very expensive, and the location, the shop is this. So it's more elaboration, right? So this is what open-ended plus closed-ended. So you have to know when is an open-ended question, when is a closed-end question, right? Don't just say yes, no, good, bad, then sometimes that's not what the interviewer expect from you. Okay. Okay. Why you didn't know? Okay. Okay, this is a sample of a teamwork. Huh? Okay, if that means this is a sample of behavioral question. Okay, describe a situation where others you were working with on a project disagree with your ideas. What did you do? Right. Tell of a time when you worked with a colleague who was not completing their share of the work. Who, if anyone, did you tell or talk about it? Did the manager take any step to correct your colleague? Do you agree or disagree with the manager? So you have to think of a situation where this scenario is happening and how you deal with it. So this is question about a teamwork. How you behave as a team, as a leader of a project, for example. Right? So you can think of scenario, maybe during your university time, you organize a project, whatever it is, or you manage a tournament where, for example, somebody in the group committee is not performing what they should do, or very slow, or you think you're finding your project and you are 4 people team, right? But your person A has to do software, you do hardware, this guy has to be kind of different tasks, right? But your colleague is slow, so the whole project is slowed down. So what you do? So as a team, right? So these are my typical questions, for example, that you need to figure out. If you answer it correctly, then you are very teamwork type of person. But if you are silo, I say, I don't care lah. He has his job, I have my job. So if the lecturer say, why it's not complete, I say, hey, I complete my job. So it means that you are working on silo. You don't care what other people, you just focus on your side. Then, in effect, the whole project is not happening. Just your portion because you do the job, right? So that's how you deal with this type of question. Huh? Okay. This is a sample of a commitment to task. I want to go there. This analysis, initiative. Okay, this is a question about problem solving for some. So, example, when we get emotionally involved in a problem situation, it is often very difficult to be objective, right? Describe a time when you were proud of your ability to be objective, even though you were emotional about a problem, right? It's often tempting to jump to a conclusion to build a quick solution for a problem situation. Tell me of a time that you resisted this temptation and thoroughly obtained all the facts associated with the problem before coming to a decision, right? So if you don't care or don't have a problem solving technique, right? You answer, okay, this is the solution, this is what I do. But if you think back, hey, when I solve this problem, right, what I think, or I try to think what is the problem statement. Then I try to find more facts. I ask around what happened, what time it happened, how big the thing, blah, blah, blah. Then how many people, who are the people. So after all, I find the facts, then I go to the next level. Oh, then I try to come up with the potential solution. Then I try. So if you know how to do a problem, so you answer this way, right? But if you're not, then just, oh, it's easy. So I just implement, this decision. I buy this at the shop and I put there, it works, then that's it, So that is not the right answer that we are looking for. Okay. Okay, right. Okay, there are other behavioral categories talking about coping. Coping is coping with pressure, right? If you're in the very stressful time environment, what do you do? How you cope with the stress, right? Tolerance of ambiguity. So if there is, everything is very blur, it's not black and white, so how you can do that, right? Some people are very, is this yours, is mine, black and white. If anything in between, no, I'm not sure, this is not mine, right? So how some a lot of things in the real world is very, very ambiguity, right? So how you can tolerate that? Which one that you think you should do, which one do you think you should not do, right? Decisiveness, whether you are very decisive or you okay, not okay, not okay, no, do not, you know. So you're not decisive, right? Communication, either in spoken or writing, assertiveness, leadership, team building, and versatility. So these are some of the behavior categories that we can ask during the interview, right? So you should be able to think of a situation that related to this behavior and explain that you are having a good behavior on all these behavioral categories. Okay, all right. Okay, it's a simple what I call analogy to answer. We say problem or situation. What is your action and what's your result? So when you are asked about this behavior question, right? You think of PAR. What's the problem? What is action you taken and what's the result? If you can explain all this in a one shot, right? Then you are safe. Okay. So these are tips. This is what I call soalan bocor. So if you get intel, you got question, you think of PAR. What is the problem? What action you take and what's the result? You can tell the story in this way. I'm sure you pass the behavioral question. Okay. Okay. So preparation is critical, but you also need to think before you answer. So always think before you answer. Don't just jump and then try to answer, right? Okay. Prepare for the interview. Be familiar with the job which you are interviewing. Discern the competency that are required. Think of the components, your experience that best amplify your abilities and competency, right? Read the instruction set with the interview invitation letter. So make sure that you read the letter from beginning to the end. Don't just read and then end up wrong date, wrong time, you know, and then wrong information required. Okay. Preparing for the interview, know your resume. Your resume is often basis for many questions, right? Identify the competency that relevant that you can demonstrate during the interview, right? Draw a variety of experiences that demonstrate your skill and abilities, your work, your volunteer, your military experience, your clubs, organization, educational behavior, so on, so on. Okay. Okay. This one. Okay. This one is prepare of the, let's say all this coping, communication. You can think of situation related to that behavior categories, right? Ahead of time. So when the interviewer asks you, you know already what example you can bring up and to show that you have that behavioral skill in yourself, right? Okay. Okay. One of the things that make sure you get a good night's sleep. A lot of people stay late at night, knowing that they're going to have interview in the morning, so end up sleep, less sleep or oversleep, or your eyes is bulging, you know, because you're not enough sleep, right? So don't do that, right? Have a good night's sleep, you know, prepare ahead, right? Dress appropriately for the interview. This is your interview. Time to learn more about the job which you are seeking. Prepare question for the interviewers, you know. Sometimes the interviewer like you to ask them, you know, so they want to know whether you know about the job you are looking for, the company you are applying for, right? So you can ask anything, right? Ask questions, right? You know, seek to understand the attribute of living in the area, the school. Sometimes you ask, okay, oh, the job is in Kulema, so how's the how is there a school there? Is there a mall there, or is that a bowling alley there, or what? You know, you can ask all this, right? It's okay one, right? Some people is a family, so they need a school for their kids, kindergartens, or you know, or is this a cheap? The cost of living is here in Kulim is cheap versus Penang, yeah, might be cheap, right? Is it urban environment or is it a kampung environment? You know. Okay. So as a conclusion, all right, the end result is we want to hire the right person for the right job. So behavior interview evaluates a candidate experience and behavior in order to determine their potential success, right? Understanding the behavior interview process and proper preparation is fundamental to the success of your interview experience, right? So at the end, you have to relax and self-confident. Okay, so I think that's my end of my presentation. So now, I open to question. Okay, so we are 4:42. All right. Okay, any question? Go ahead.
There are questions in the chat room.
Which question?
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Sorry for the interruption. Can I ask the question, sir?
Yes. Go ahead.
Sir, is that Intel is got some internship programs for 3 months, or they just given for the 6 months program, sir?
We have 3 months, but we would like to have you guys to come and do internship more than 3 months, because 3 months for us is not enough. 6 months is the best. You know.
Okay, sir. But our institution is available for 3 months only, sir. So that's the thing. So
it's okay. It's okay. You can go for 3 months, but what I'm telling you is that 3 months is not enough.
Okay.
You don't learn a lot for 3 months, but if that is the time you're allowed, then you know what we can do. We cannot ask you to stay longer, right?
Yes, sir. It's correct, sir.
Okay.
Okay, there might be questions in the chat box. Can read it. From Ahmad Amirul. Among many job application media, which is the best or the most used by Intel to look for employee?
Among many job application media.
Maybe like LinkedIn or something like that, or JobStreet or any other.
Oh, I think LinkedIn is the best, one of the best media that you can look for job. JobStreet also can. You know, I think we post a job in almost all media, right? We have our own Intel Facebook media. We have our LinkedIn. We also advertise in the general in LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn will post it to all the LinkedIn members, right? So even if you are a student, you can start generate your LinkedIn account, and then you will you can go to the LinkedIn and look for the job status in the LinkedIn. There is features inside there. So my advice is that you go to open your LinkedIn account now, so that you will have opportunities to see not just job from Intel. There's a lot of other companies also advertising in. JobStreet is one of the, so JobStreet you can subscribe for free, right? So then you scope out what job you're looking for, and then I think JobStreet will post push the mail to you every time there's a job scope that you're looking for, right? There are other media, Twitter, whatever is just a company link. So you can also look for, let's say, Intel Twitter, or Intel Facebook, IG. I'm not sure. I think IG should get one also. So today we link to almost all the media, but I think LinkedIn is the best. LinkedIn and JobStreet, I think, is the most usage by the people to look for job. Okay.
Okay. Maybe for the next question is for Nur Ashikin. Sir, may I know validation engineer is for manufacturing or service?
Oh, validation engineer is for the R&D. It's a R&D group, right? So it's under design and development. The job is under design and development. Okay. And today, if you apply engineer job under design and development, they command higher salary. I think fresh graduate today for under design and engineering is around 4K minimum. If you are first class honors, whatever it is, maybe go up to 4.3, 4.4, you know, something like that. Just other than that, if you then it, because that is the most demand engineers today. You know, electronic under DND. So any engineering under DND, it can be design engineer, it can be validation engineer, it can be even mechanical engineer under DND. Then the starting pay is 4K minimum. That's what I'm trying to say. Operation might be slightly lower, maybe around 3,008. If I think it's under manufacturing, if you are production engineer, it's about 3,008. Okay, I mean that is the general information that I want to give to you guys. Right? Well, other company might be plus minus on that. I don't know. Okay. Next question.
Yeah. I think there's no any question anymore in the chat box. If you guys have any questions, you can open your mic, please. Sir, may I ask you the question?
Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, I would like to know about the environment, the work environment in Intel. How is it? Is it like many startups? I myself in Indonesia see that many startups company give the best environment to their employees, such as giving the good interior or something like good dishes for their employees. How about Intel?
Oh, well, today if you go Intel office, right, especially in the lobby is like 5-star hotel. Okay, you know that today the environment in the company like Google's, Microsoft, they have changed the environment. The lobby, the entrance, they are totally different. They are lined up. You can see that, you know, the setup, the view, even the gym. If I can show you the photo of our gym, is like you go to the hotel gym, right? It's the very big, all the latest up-to-date of gym, the treadmills and all that stuff is very, very brand new, right? So the setup is very, very different. Today we try to set up a very conducive environment for R&D, right? So we are competing with a lot of companies to hire talent employee. So because of that, we have to provide a very conducive environment for the engineers to think and to innovate and come up with the new design. So it's not just T-shirt. We have a lot of program celebration, be it virtually, right? We have a celebration virtually. We give out a Starbucks coupon, you know, 50 ringgit, whatever you can buy, order, grab food, whatever it is, you know, and then have a team building in the room and play, you know, online games, you know, virtually, all that stuff. So even that we even have celebration in virtually, right? So they send food to the house of every employee that involved in the celebration, and they eat together, right? Something like that, right? So that is how we set up the environment. So if okay, today you cannot visit Intel, so because of the SOP or whatever it is, but maybe down the road you got opportunity, you can see Intel that, you know, is so the environment is different, right? Now we are fighting for hiring a good talent, so that's why we prepare to the extent of, you know, make sure that, you know, we have a very conducive environment, a great place to work. And some people like to do what I call the charities, for example. Right? So we allow them to go work in the charity, and we match. If they work for volunteer for 1 hour, we pay the organization that they work for by matching about $20 US per hour or something like that, right? So that's huge. So if you have 100 hours, how much money the charity organization can get from the volunteers hour. So so these are the people, because some people like to serve the communities, right? So and they create a job satisfaction. So do that, we have that opportunity of doing that. Okay, hopefully I answer your question.
Yes, thank you, thank you. All right, we have one question actually. This is from Arif Shamil. Does validation engineer, when working with a US employee, need to us to follow their timeline even when on weekends?
When you can when we work in Malaysia, we work in the Malaysian time, right? We won't work in the US time zone, right? In fact, we are complementing each other. So when the job continues, right? So the first hours is Malaysian time, right? So then when we go to sleep, the US guy will continue and work the work using US time. So the work will continue 24 hours. We don't have to work at the different hours. Of course, there's some overlap here and there. That's for sure will happen. But what I'm trying to say that we don't have to work, at midnight to morning because that is matching US time. No, that is their working time. After they finish, they will pass to us. We will continue with our time. So it's 24 hours. The job will be done and continue, right? So that's how it works. That is what we call complementing the different time zone, right? So the work will continue to be done by people from different time zone. Okay, hopefully answer that question.
Okay, thank you. Maybe, is there any question? You can open your mic. Okay. Very well. Actually, I got a message from Mr. Nazar to stay until the end of the group photo session. Okay.
Yeah.
So if no more question, I think we can wrap it up and take a group photo.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody turn on their video, huh?
Yes, please.
Okay, maybe you can open your camera on so we can see your face clearly. Would like to take a photo, mister?
Yeah, go ahead. The host, which is the UTSM library.
Okay. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1, cheers. Okay, once more. Okay. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you so much.
So on behalf of UTSM, we would like to thank Mr. Parit for his time, his effort, and the very interesting sharing. I know it's not easy to share his 35 years experience in 2 hours time, but I hope he gives a lot of ideas, insight, and share opportunity for all of you to one day hopefully able to become an Intel employee. Besides Intel, there are many companies who start up in Penang and Batu Kawan, and also in Kulim industrial area. In fact, the biggest FDI, foreign direct investment for last year is in Penang and also Kedah. So, hopefully this session is beneficial for all the students, not only from the FKE, but also FPTP and other faculty. All right, with that, again, we want to thank Mr. Parit again for all the sharing. And hopefully we can see him again in the next session. Thank you very much.
And if you want to submit your resume, you can pass to Mr. Nazar. You can pass to me. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Talking about that, actually, you can deposit or you can submit your resume at www.intel.com/job. JOB. Let me type it here. www.intel.com. Yes, please save that link. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Rizaldi. All the
Yeah.
way
Thank you,
from
sir. Thank you.
Indonesia.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.